What's happening, Ronin Man? I want to talk about the incredible unveiling of the Cybertruck and why I think it's important. I think it's important for men to understand the world, what's going on around you, how things are changing, and so that you can. Being out of touch is not good. Okay, being out of touch of trends, being out of touch of technology, it just puts you in a position where you always kind of don't look like you know what I mean. It gives you that sense of, I don't know, it's a bad thing. And in that same vein, you guys don't know my real stuff I do under my own name, but I have a lot of stuff that's viral in different technology sectors, including cars I've written about. And I want to talk about that, kind of bring some of the knowledge that I have from other areas, and I think guys are going to find it interesting. And it's important. It really is. It really is important. This is not just some episode. This shit, understanding what's going on in the world, it matters. It matters. It matters in confidence too, I think. Just that you understand, okay, because most people, they're just lost in a dream. And most guys are just they're out to lunch. And also, most guys don't have a lot of free time to think. And a lot of times they're being badgered. They're being pushed into doing things they don't like to do. They're constantly on the run, going from this lesson to that lesson with the kids. They're they don't have the luxury of being able to study and to think, and they're surrounded by idiots. So that really all together, it really, it adds up to a very out of touch life. And I just think that's lame. And I want, people here on Ronin Man is not only understanding social dynamics of what's going on in the world, and legal and being able to make smart decisions, but just having that sense of imagination and understanding of the world. I think it's really important, actually. I really do. I'm dead serious. I think men fucking need this. This is something that is we want to know what's going on. And you can see it in the old man's eyes when they realize they don't know what's going on anymore, they don't, there's that real downer for them. They just feel you can see it, just watch it in people's eyes, old men who really don't understand cell phones, let's say, for example. And they just feel frustrated. There's this kind of, men want to know. Men have a curiosity that is just insatiable. So Cybertruck, right? Came out the other day, and I think a lot of people don't really, like I said, most people are so lost. I want to say first, I don't like electric vehicles because of the environment. Okay? A lot of guys think if you like electric vehicles, it's because you are a tree hugger. That makes sense. I mean, that's kind of I would say in a lot of the online blogs guys are writing, that would be a meme. I've seen that many car guys have that kind of attitude. And I'd say that is just, that's fine that they think that, but that's not true. I see it as different. Okay, here's what I see. I see when we went, humanity switched, or the parallel that I look at or think about is when man switched from horses to gas-powered cars. That was a very difficult switch. And a lot of people back in those days, they said, hey, why would I buy a car? It's unreliable, it's noisy, the horse goes everywhere I want, it's, all I have to do is give it some hay, it never breaks down, it's very reliable, it's fun, it's, he's my friend, there's a lot of reasons why people were like, hey, it's not going to happen. And I'm not going to do it if nothing else. I'm just going to keep my horse. And I understand that. I mean, I had a horse when I was a kid. My sister had a horse, and I didn't want a horse. I wanted a fucking motorcycle. But just having that horse around, my natural male curiosity got the better of me. And I started to watch him and see how he acted. And I started to learn. And I actually gained a lot from having a horse, because I understand animals much deeper level than I would if I just would have had a dog or a cat or something, Having a horse, they're amazing, huge. They're just so huge, especially when you're a kid. I was a little kid. They're so huge, and they're so wise. Their horses are amazing, But anyway, the the shift from that type of transportation to cars was something that is similar to what's going on with electric, gasoline to electric and diesel to electric. Same exact shift. Exactly, so many similar things. It's in the sense that it's such a huge difference. Okay, it's so massive that you have a lot of people trailing. A lot of people don't understand what's going on. A lot of people, feel that they want. There's just so many clueless things going on. I mean, here's the classic thing. A lot of people, and I think this is going to quickly disappear, but the guys thought that they liked the sound of an engine, right? They like the sound of a V8 or something. Listen, I hate to break this to you, but most performance vehicles today, the sound that you're hearing is piped in fake sound. It is. Look online. The motor has gone through so many transformations. The technology is updated so fast. They sound like basically sewing machines now, and so they'll pipe in a nice V8 type sound. So the sound that even a lot of people that brag about the sound of their car, they don't even realize, because car companies are so smart. They've done such a good job of basically fulfilling that need for the sound, okay, that that people that are driving the cars themselves don't realize the sound is fake. I mean, just think about how pathetic that is. Really, guys bragging about the sound of their car don't know the sound is fake. It's piped in. That's fucking pathetic to me. To me, that's just like, that talk about being out of touch. But anyway, you can pipe in that sound with any car, and the new, which car was it? Porsche. The Porsche Taycan electric has a piped in sound, but they did it's more of an electric sound, because even the electric sound, it doesn't even have a sound. It's so silent. And so they piped in, they have this like space agey sound that you can turn on or off, right? So at least you don't know it's real. You don't think it's real, right? And the reason why they're doing that partly is because of people are worried that they're going to get hit on their bicycles or walking because there won't be any sound, right? So anyway, so all this stuff, it's changing right now. And I think, okay, God, there's so many things to talk about. And I know so much. Electric cars, I've written about them. I'm very interested in this whole shift. I love this kind of shit where there is a massive shift of one thing to the next, and a lot of people are behind. A lot of people don't understand the ramifications, and they don't see it. I always want to I want to fucking know what's going on. I want to be right in there and see what's going on. So I'll try to throw a bunch of stuff at you here. Whether you're an electric car guy or not, I think you'll find this very, very interesting episode. Okay, so I'll just, with that in mind, I'll just start throwing facts out. Okay, so as they come into my mind. So one of them was Ford came out with the Mustang, which is an electric. They have a gas and electric version, but the electric version is the big unveiling. It was a big shock to me. It was like, holy shit. Like an old school car company actually made. It's a very good looking car. It's a good looking car. It's a little bit of a copy of a Tesla Model Y. Okay, I'll give them that. But it's a tough shift for these guys. All they have is like gas engineers, and diesel engineers, and now all of a sudden you're having to compete in this whole new market. Very difficult for them, and they did a good job. It's a good looking car. It was a great branding choice of using the Mustang, just showing that they're committed to the future. I like the fact that you don't need a key for it. You use your smartphone, and you can open the car, you can start the car. And also they have a keypad, so you can start it with, you can just, if you forget your key, you lose your phone, lose your battery, you could just hit some numbers you set in there, and you can unlock the car, and you can unlock the motor, and you can drive away without a key. That's cool. They did a lot of things right. I thought that they had a very cool touchscreen. I don't think they're going to be able to compete with a company like Tesla's software, Silicon Valley advantage. I don't think there's any way that any car company is going to be competing with Tesla anytime soon. They are very much a software company. But anyway, they did a nice job. It's a nice looking touchpad, and they actually added a volume knob, a physical volume knob, which Tesla doesn't have, which I like. I really like, and I think it's like it adds that old school sense. And also when you're driving, you can look down, and you can, without looking down, you can just reach down and you can turn the volume up and down. That partly unnecessary, because on the Tesla you can actually do that on the steering wheel using there's a couple of rolling things on there. But anyway, that was nice. I heard from some software friends that might not be such a great idea, just because of the difficulty in programming it. It's like you're already competing with Tesla, which is better in software, and now you're adding in complications. Might not be the smartest thing for Ford. But anyway, great car, great looking, and it was fucking scary for Tesla, because if a car company would have come out with a killer electric vehicle, okay, under the brand name that you're used to, whatever it is that you're usually by Honda, GM, whatever. If they came out with a car that was similar to Tesla, you would buy it if it was the same price. Why? Of course you'd buy it. You'd want to go to the dealership. It's right near your house. You can just stop in anytime. You know the guy. It's easy to shift over, whereas a new brand is kind of like, like if you buy, let's say, Macs, and then they come out with a new MacBook that's good, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I'll just get the MacBook, right? Or if you usually get a, whatever it is, Samsung, you're used to going to the Samsung shop, you're used to like their software, you're just going to buy another Samsung. Whereas you're not going to be as willing to buy a brand new Chinese company or whatever, even if it is better, right? So Tesla is somewhat at risk here. But they have such a huge advantage that as far as technology and battery and efficiency, and I think it goes even deeper and deeper and deeper than that. That's what I want to talk about. I don't think anybody really understands I really don't think, I listen to a lot of blogs, and some of my ideas are coming from other blogs, but a lot of it is just my own thinking. So it's Ronin man figuring shit out. So here's what I think is going on. The Cybertruck, okay, it came out a couple days ago. It looks, there's a certain look to it, right? I think in person, it's kind of like you take a picture of a girl's tits. Often they don't look as big as they do in person. So a lot of times you can't really tell what something looks like when you just look at a video or a picture, which is strange to say. But when you see it in person, you're like, oh, wow, okay. And that is what we're looking at design. I want to skip the design for now, just because I don't think it's a key thing. But here's the thing. Here's what is really amazing. This is what fucking blows my mind. Is that the advantage that big car companies have over Tesla. Okay, what everybody imagines, and even today, you're thinking they have a huge advantage in manufacturing capacity, right? Makes sense, right? They have the edge in manufacturing capacity. Totally makes sense. They make more cars. They've made them for 100 years. They have tons of engineers. Blah 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 blah. I don't think so, and here's why. They essentially, and Elon talked about this in the introduction to the Cybertruck. They made the same truck over and over. Basically, it always looks the same ever since they started making trucks. I mean, it's gotten, the technology's improved, but it's basically the same design, it's the same materials too, basically. And what the Cybertruck is, why is the Cybertruck, if you don't think about it, you just think, okay, they made this weird design. But there's actually a very good reason for that design. The material they're using is the same material they used to make the new SpaceX. The stainless steel that they're using, the type of, I forgot the name of it, but anyway, it's very tough. It's an amazing, strong, lightweight material, and they proved that when they used the sledgehammer on the door in the intro. It didn't dent. You can't do that to a Ford 150, that's for sure. So the But why did it have such a weird design? The reason why it has a weird design is because that steel can be made into a round design. Okay, you see that on the SpaceX. You see it on the nose cone. It's all round. But that's all by hand. So you can't make a vehicle, you can't mass produce something that makes profit by hand. Okay, so the reason why they use that angular design is they were looking for something innovative. They weren't going to make a truck that was the same as everybody else. So I'm sure people were coming to Elon with designs like, what about this? What about this? And then he's like, okay, it has to fit all these categories. It has to be mass producible. It has to be totally unique. It has to be more truck than truck. It has to be smart, right? It has to look cool. It has to have all these different things, right? And everybody assumed that it had to be aerodynamic, right? That's what all the cars they make are slippery as fuck. They're so aerodynamic. The truck, get this, the Tesla semi-truck it's more, the aerodynamic drag is lower than a Lamborghini. Because the aerodynamics are very complicated things. It's the dynamics, the physics of that. It's not about the size. It's the way that when you're moving through the air, the way the air like a wave goes over and pushes from the back. There's a lot of complications with aerodynamics. They're not as simple. They're not. You can't look at something and say it's aerodynamic. One little thing changes a lot, even though you don't really notice it. Like things like the windshield wipers. They're invisible. They're underneath the hood, but they cause a lot of aerodynamic drag, and that's why Tesla patented a new type of windshield wiper. Is so they've always focused on this aerodynamic. So everybody thought that, of course, the truck is going to be aerodynamic, right? Now it is in some ways because it has in the pickup part, it has a cover, and that cover is actually a solar panel, which gives the truck 15 miles per day. And they're trying to get it up to 30 to 40, which is what the average person drives per day. So when they reach 30 to 40 miles per day, basically you're going to have no fuel costs with the truck. It'll be free to drive to work. Think about that. I mean, that's just amazing. Just from having a fucking, you know what I mean? Like it's like they're attacking the car companies, and the car companies don't even know what they're doing. Okay, back to the manufacturing. So you say, okay, well, the manufacturing companies have the advantage of manufacturing. They do, but they do in what? Not in the future, not in new materials. They have the advantage in the old way of manufacturing. I'm not talking about the electric and gas. I'm talking about the materials of the car itself and the manufacturing expertise. Who has manufacturing expertise for rolled steel? Tesla does, because they made the rocket ship out of it. And that rocket ship is very, very interesting too, because they originally had a carbon fiber design. And as they got closer and closer to production to go into space with it, Elon realized there was too many manufacturing defects in it. And it was like there was too many. And what he said was basically anything, and this has always been my theory for business, anything that's too difficult to do means you're doing it wrong. You have to rethink it. Like, you don't push through those things. You say, wait a second, why is this being so difficult? It's like a relationship with a girl. You keep running into over and over problems. You need to say to yourself, it's not how can I solve the next problem? It's like, life should not be this hard. Like, it's that simple. It just shouldn't. There's something wrong with the fundamental thing you're doing if you're running into endless fucking problems, right? That's not how life should be. So what you do is you scrap it, and that's what he did. He basically went to his engineers and said, well, essentially all you carbon fiber guys are fired because we're not going to do carbon fiber on the next one, on the actual ship. He said, well, what are we going to do? I don't know. Basically, we're going to find something else. And they found this type of steel, and they had to totally change the whole company. You guys got to know, like, there's no company who does this kind of fucking radical shit. Like, there is every other company, when they get onto a path of something, They just continue. They continue. It's the easy way. You just keep throwing money at it. You keep perfecting it. Eventually, you will have a carbon fiber spacecraft, but you won't have the capacity to make very many of them, and you'll have limited missions, and you'll be limited in many ways, and you're going to have problems, explosions. Stainless steel, the type of steel he's using, sorry, I don't remember the exact name, but you can look it up. That steel is insanely strong. Okay, you don't have to paint it. You don't have to do anything to it. It's just the way it is. It's like a concrete house. You don't have to put any paint on it. You know those nice that nice concrete look in the modern buildings. I love that look. It's just so fucking simple, right? That's how stainless steel is. And they're just like, okay, shiny fucking stainless steel. It took more time. They had to get new engineers. They did it. Now they have a company that can go forward. And now they have a material they can use for cars. And manufacturing companies like Truck, Ford, GM, they have manufacturing expertise, but they don't know shit about this new steel. They have no experience with this. Tesla does, because they have SpaceX. So they're taking a lot of their space technology and bringing it down to cars. And the Cybertruck is secretly designed to be a Mars rover. So there'll be a pressurized version on Mars, and they're going to send it up there. So they're taking advantage of the fact that the future, the only way you get to the future, okay, with these new materials, with these new motors, with these new everything, is when you push past Earth. It's like basically Ford and GM, they have the finest trucks on Earth, but there's a limit because it's easy to make, it's easy to produce. Space, you need lighter, you need faster, you need thinner, you need stronger, you need less maintenance, you need a lot of different things to get into space, right? It's difficult, right? And the technologies that you use to get up there are becoming that if you want to take cars to the next level, you need to go to space to get them. You need to have something that can fly up in the air, be strong enough, right? And that's why these car companies, they're fucked, because as Tesla is moving farther and farther forward, they're using so I get ahead of myself. So why is it angular? Well, the reason is because they could have made a round one. They could have made a regular looking car. One they didn't probably want to particularly, except for the aerodynamic aspect, which of course they wanted to. But they need to have something they can make money on. How do you make money on a manufactured product, on a mass-produced product? You need to have something that's mass-produced. You need something that the robots can make. And so they said, well, Elon's like, okay, we want to use this new material, which is very strong. You don't need to paint it. It's beautiful. It's just, you can sledgehammer the fucking door, right? And it won't even matter, right? That's how strong the fucking thing is. But how do you make it for the masses? The only way is if it's angular and a robot can do it. And they're like, well, can robots do it? They tested it out. Sure enough, robots can make it. So that's why they did it. And because the thing is so strong, and you're going to hear more about this in future, I'm just kind of a little bit going ahead of what's been announced, but it looks like the design of trucks, the way the frame, and it's, okay, basically the frame is, imagine the frame as being the strong part of the truck, and then you have like this creaky shell over the top. That's the way that trucks are made, right? Well, the future of manufacturing is more with a body that is already strong enough that doesn't really need a frame. Like the body is a frame. Can you imagine that? So the body is strong enough, they're lightweight enough, and it's all encapsulated. It's like it's a printed out thing that doesn't need a separate frame, really. And that's what we're seeing with the Cybertruck, is you have a frame that's incredibly strong, and then you have a skateboard underneath. So all you need is electronic skateboard underneath with batteries, and then a very strong body that's lightweight that can be mass produced cheaply, and boom, on top. There you got your car. So you have a way. So what he's done is it seems very, like it just looks like another car to most people, but what you're seeing is the future of manufacturing right here. He's way past what trucks were. And so, of course, it looks weird, and there are going to be people that are pro and negative, but that's not where you want to put your focus if you want to understand this. If you want to understand what's going on, look at the underlying technology and look at the inability or I would say inexperience of his competitors with these materials, with these new materials. So he's found a way to bring a stronger material, to bring a mass producible thing that has never been made by a manufacturer with all this experience, and totally redesigned the actual structure of the vehicle with the stronger frame. I mean, without need for a frame so much, right? Less and less need for a frame. More the body is the frame, right? And then you also have the battery advantage, right? There's a huge battery advantage. So like just when the car companies were copying Tesla, they're like, okay, we need to make it as aerodynamic as possible. Like he totally switched flipped the switch on this one. Like now they're like, holy shit, like what the fuck is this, And so who knows what's next, but obviously the technology will be used in the semi, okay, and the semi. And the other thing is the windows that broke in the test, which I like the fact the windows broke because the windows broke because it was a real test. Okay, it was a real fucking test. This was not some fake bullshit corporate antics. This was a real test. The guy chucked like a baseball pitcher a metal ball bearing into the window. Now he did break it, but you got to look at what happened. One, it's real, and that's what I love about Tesla. Like that is they were really doing stuff. Like that sledgehammer, everything was real. The reason why people think it broke, we're going to find out later, and I'm just speculating here, but they have a video they were testing out to make sure the window wouldn't break. So they kept throwing the metal thing at that same truck. So imagine you've been throwing this thing at the truck over and over before the event, to make sure. And then the event goes on and then it breaks. Why did it break? Probably it broke because they had hit it so many times before and it just got weakened by all those slams into it. So there will probably, this will be great motivation to either improve the design or to be able to now state the limit, right? To say, okay, here's what it can't take this type of ball, but it can do this that no one else can do. Like they're going to find a way to present the advantages they have. Now they might have overstated their advantages. That's possible, but that's okay. They have huge advantages. Here's the thing. That is not glass. That is a transparent metal they're using. That's a transparent fucking metal. Look it up. That's not glass. So they're doing all new stuff. They're using all new material. They're using all new design, which really looks like the future. Okay, it doesn't just look like a new design. It's not the design of the manufacturing of the structure of the vehicle is moving to the next level. Like, think about that. These manufacturing companies are going to have to copy the manufacturing of Tesla in future vehicles. Nobody predicted this. Nobody's even saying this on any blogs. But what you're seeing is Tesla's going, it's very silent, it's very subtle, it's very fucking Elon. He throws it out there and just does it, and then takes time for people to kind of process it. And I think I'm nailing it here. But so we have, this is what's going on. We're going to have a truck here in the near future. Okay, I don't know what near is. Okay, I don't know, it could be 5 years or something. When the cover to the back of the pickup, which is a fucking solar panel, which they make, okay, is going to get range. Already it gets range of 15 miles a day, which is about half of what most people drive per day, the average person when they drive their truck. they're moving the efficiency up. The efficiency of solar is going up quickly. Everybody knows that. It's changing really fast. It's one thing that is moving. Like, it's really pretty amazing, actually. Not Tesla, but solar efficiency is rising really quickly. And if you can get 30 miles or 40 miles out of a cover to your truck, you're going to have zero fuel costs. For a fucking truck that can pull an F-150 backwards, skidding, when they're using it as a tug of war, they showed that on the video. Like, it just basically just pulls the Ford like a toy backwards. Okay, you're going to be able to do that with an incredible Mars-ready Cybertruck, and it won't cost you anything per day to drive. No fuel costs. I mean, already you're getting almost half your mileage for free. I mean, it's mind-boggling, because the car is in the sun all day. Okay, it's in the sun. It's outside in the sun. Most people don't use garages, so it's going to be it's going to be collecting that energy. So, especially when you're at a job site, right? You're going to like there's not a lot of trees around. They're just construction sites, right? And they're getting plenty of fucking solar. So you'll be, I mean, it's that's the goal, is like free power and advanced engineering. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, fuck, I think it's so exciting. I really think it's exciting. And I like competition, so it's not like, if anybody comes out with something, and I was very impressed with that Ford Mustang. I really was. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, whether they can really compete with Tesla by the time they come out, I don't know about that. I hope so. I want to see innovation. That's what I want to see. I want to see fucking innovation. I want to see moving forward. I want to see humanity leapfrogging. And the thing about this whole thing is, can any of you imagine a woman being the CEO of Tesla? Really? The audacity, the innovation. Is a woman going to start a space company, a car company, a solar company, and put them all together? And not just start them like some random, I own a gas station and a Hello Kitty factory and a credit card service. Not just three random things. It's like he sees a vision how these three things are going to come together, and that's why he bought the three things. Because he's like, we need all these, and we're going to put them all together, and then we're going to create the future. That is genius, man. That is fucking genius. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work out. I don't know. Business is tough, okay? But it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. The innovation, the foresight, the curiosity, and the just incredible amount of brain, capacity that you need to think this way ahead of everybody else is mind-boggling. And you see him just doing it over and over and over. Like I said, most people don't even understand what he's done in the past. And this is generally how life is most people, they don't even know what happened last week, not to mention today, and they have no concept of what's going to happen in the future because they're lost in a dream. They're lost in running around doing what women want them to do all day, thinking, saying, watching their words, being careful, wasting all this energy on following some kind of whatever the latest movie is, the latest whatever the latest meme is, forwarding memes, arguing against the same arguments over and over and over. And this is what we have. We have men, pussified men, living in a dream, repeating arguments that aren't arguments. I don't mind I like an argument. I like a discussion, but I want people. I don't want to. If there's going to be an argument that's just repeated over and over, like, okay, whether it's a political argument, the Democrats, Republicans, the same thing. Just play a recording and just leave it in your garage or something of some debate that has already happened. If you're not talking something, if you're not using your brain, I don't really want to talk to you because there's no need. You're just repeating what you said yesterday or the thinking you had yesterday. There's no point in that for me. I don't understand that. And that's not why a man opens his mouth. A man thinks, a man considers, and looks at things. And the only way you can do this is, I think, the what do you call, the bedrock, the foundation of this is the ability to admit that you're wrong and to have smart friends. Because you got to be wrong a lot in order to come up with new ideas. That's a fact. Guys that are always right, women are all the same, all these general fucking rules, these are great. They make you feel good. It's like an internal hand job. You feel warm inside. But that is not going to lead you to the future. You need constant innovation, just like Elon Musk is doing with cars. You need to throw away old ideas. You need to admit your fault. Look at what he did with the carbon fiber. That is such a, you could call that a total failure. He hired all these people. He made this company. They made a prototype, and then he realized it was just too difficult. He's like, this is just too much work. It shouldn't be this difficult. If we're going to make a viable company going forward, and we keep running into these things, it's just not going to work. I need to go back to the drawing board. I was wrong. This is a mistake. Now, what is right? And it takes an incredible amount of optimism, because what happens with most guys is they get into this kind of like, feminism's going to take us over, the society's going down, society's going to get broken. This does not lead to innovative thinking. This leads to depression and lack of optimism, because it's like this kind of set thing that you repeat to everybody. Essentially, it's like a victim. It's just being a victim of everything. And meanwhile, other people are like, wait a second, how can I play this game? How can I, in this environment, where are things going? How can I build myself a kick-ass life and really push the boundaries and actually enjoy my life? I can ignore all these boring arguments, depressing victim arguments being repeated over and over. I just don't care about that. I don't want to hear comments like that kind of boring, depressing, non-thinking stuff. I don't care what the topic is. It could be anything. I don't like it. No, think. Use your brain. It's okay to be wrong. Look at it. Being wrong is a great thing, actually. When you're wrong about something, it means that you, especially if it was a unique idea, it means that you tried. You tried, and it did, and it was wrong. Science, that's why it's taken so long to technology to go forward, is because most things don't work. You have to over and over and over. What is it, Edison? I'm not a fan of Edison, by the way, because I think he stole a lot of his stuff and used a lot of researchers. I hate that kind of thing. But anyway, he did say something. He said, it wasn't 10,000. It took 10,000 iterations to get the light bulb. Everybody knows this, right? And he's like, well, it wasn't 10,000 failures. It was 10,000 learning what things don't work. Okay, and then he finally found the light bulb that worked. And I think that's what we're going to see with batteries. We're going to see it's 10,000 different batteries. Everybody's like, oh, you can't make a battery, you can't make an electric car. And meanwhile, Elon Musk, who was getting a PhD in ultracapacitors before he started Tesla, before he started PayPal, he knows something about this shit. He knows something about the future of batteries, or energy storage, I should say. That guy's not just he's not some Silicon Valley guy. That guy was getting a PhD in ultracapacitors before, also called supercapacitors, before. That's the next iteration of battery, okay? You can charge it up instantly. It will hold over twice as much power. This is what's going to happen. We're going to see innovation in this energy storage market that is going to blow away the estimates. And this is what I think is going to happen. Now, again, it could be wrong, but I think that's what we're going to see. We're seeing a big focus, a lot of smart people, a lot of money, a lot of very experienced people, including John Goodenough, I'm a huge fan of his. The guy who invented RAM memory, the guy who invented the lithium-ion battery, is now saying that there's a glass electrode solid-state battery that's coming, and Jeff Dawn, there's a bunch of guys working on it. I forget the name, Amy Lee. There's a few people that are like focused and they're all there's a lot of rumors. They're working with Tesla. Tesla is the biggest battery manufacturer in the world, so it makes sense that if you invented the next generation battery, you would contact the company that's the biggest battery manufacturer in the world. John Goodenough, he knows that. Guy's like 97 years old, and it looks like he's got one more innovation in him. And solid state batteries compared to inside of a battery, okay, is like a chemistry experiment of dangerous stuff. It's mucky, it's dirty, it's dangerous, it's difficult to mine, it's difficult to find, it catches on fire. There's a lot of problems with batteries. But when you go to solid state, okay, that's when things change. That's when computers took off. That's when, Sony made the solid state. Well, they didn't make it. It was made in the U.S. But they licensed the solid state transistor, and they took electronics, which used to be tube, which I had a tube preamplifier because it cost me $3,400. It was beautiful. What was the name of it? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. Audio Reference was the brand. And I knew the owner. I knew the actually innovator. And I bought his. I bought his. His company went bankrupt. Was it Audio Reference? It wasn't AR. There was a company called AR. It wasn't AR. It was. I think it was Audio Reference. Anyway, I bought, and I had these tubes, and I liked the sound of them. They were great. They were very soft, beautiful. I'm an audiophile, by the way. I love beautiful audio. And I spent when I was in university, I saved. Altogether, I spent about $100,000 on a stereo when I was in college. I was making a ton of money in sales, and I was just dumping it into electronics. And I love audio. I'm a real audiophile. If you're interested in audiophile, like look at there's a few. If you're interested, let me know. I turn you on to a magazine that's just awesome. You know, their stuff is very legit. But anyway. I had a tube, and tubes were analog. They were hot. They broke. They had noise in them. They would get old quickly, and they had a very nice soft sound. But when it comes to mass production of things and miniaturization, they were not good. Okay, they were not good. You drop it, it's glass, right? It would break. You know, whereas when you move to a solid state transistor, all of a sudden you had something you could stamp out like real quick. Now, of course, they weren't as good sounding in the beginning, you know, and some people would say they even don't sound quite as good today. But anyway, they're very good, right? So you have it switched from a basically hand job, handmade, difficult to store, manufacture, to upkeep. To keep, to repair, to something that was like stampable, easy, durable, mass market, cheap, and something you could make very, very small, right? So that shift is what made in the 80s. That's when you saw Japan took over, because Japan was really the transistor capital. America had made the tube. And they were like, I don't know if America was tube. It might have been Russia. Anyway, the tube was already something that America was good at. And it wasn't easy to switch over, just like we're seeing now. We're seeing a massive shift in technology, which I fucking love. I love rebellions. I love takeovers. I love, what am I thinking of? God. I can't think of the word. It's like Mao Zedong took over China. Not that I like Mao Zedong, but I like these insurrections and shifts, because this is when a man's ability to change, his ability to create, his ability to see, and his ability to make decisions and set a course with nobody telling him what to do, and to innovate is just beautiful. I love that. I love those changes. And that's when you see the next generation of either technology or future of life or whatever. This is the kind of shit that just gets me total wood. I get so excited about this stuff. So that's why I like this stuff. Not because of any hand job bullshit. I think it's incredible. I think we're going to have winners and losers. We're going to have some massive changes coming up. And I think it's fucking exciting. I think it's so cool. So when you look at it, like look at it from that, with those ideas in mind, and you might see technology changing in a different way. You know, in that what everybody else is repeating. You know, it's like the same fucking shit you read. It's just a bunch of fucking drones, you know? It's not about being right. This is what the thinking of the modern, like, thinking of feminism or SJWs, everything is like, oh, he was wrong. He was wrong. And he was wrong is like, basically you can't trust him, right? That just doesn't, that is like, that type of protective, it's a defensive, it's a, you don't get anywhere there. Your life goes nowhere. You copy idiots who don't even know what they're doing. Everybody's copying everybody else, and nobody knows where anything is going. Everybody's like, oh, well, I'm copying well, so I'm a good guy, right? I'm okay, you know? Fuck all that. You know, you got to fucking break some eggs to make a fucking omelet. Make an omelet, guys. In your life, in technology, in your vision, in your thinking about the world, break eggs and make a fucking omelet. Be willing to be wrong. This is what so many guys, their self-esteem is so fragile that they can't be wrong. If you want to get one thing out of this, have the ability to be wrong. At the next summit, I want guys to be able to say, I was wrong. Okay? I was wrong, and I was so wrong about this. Because there's something incredibly healthy about it. I want to end this on how wrong I was on some very big things. The biggest thing was, my friend Chris told me about something called the internet. Back in like 94, something like 93, 94. And he said, the internet. And I said, oh, yeah. And get this. He was selling advertising on the internet back in 93 or 94, my friend Chris, in Japan. And I could not even understand what the fuck he was talking about. Anyway, he was a good friend of mine. I knew the guy very well. And we hung out a lot. And he said, because he started the first internet cafe in Japan. And he's like, I want you to come by. It wasn't just him. It was a bunch of people, but he was involved. And he said, I want you to come by and I want you to use the internet because I think you're going to really like it. And and I wasn't listening. I was like, yeah, I got to fuck this girl. I'm busy. And I bone this chick, climb a mountain, ride my bike, whatever. And he's like, go to the beach. He's like, no, okay, you got to come I got paid in advance. You can just come and use it. Don't worry. So I came over. I remember I walked over. And where was it? It was down the hill from Roppongi. It was on the right-hand side. It was somewhere in there in the middle of nowhere for cheap rent. There was this internet cafe. So I went in, and which I didn't even know what it was back then. It was just a bunch of computers that were supposedly on the internet. And so I sat down. There was a lot of people in there. It was quite busy. I remember people were very serious in there. And he said, here's your computer. You can use it as long as you want. I paid. Don't worry. So I looked at it, and I didn't know what to do. So I said, what is this for? And he said, well, you can look up anything. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, like you can look at a company, for example. He said, you can look at what a company, this is pre-search engine, right? He said, and I said, well, he said, what company do you like? And I said, well, IBM. And I did like IBM back then. IBM had some cool shit going on, actually. And so I said, he said, okay, well, they probably have a website. So we typed in IBM.com. Sure enough, IBM's website came up, and I looked at it, and it just looked boring to me. I just didn't. Before the internet, computer people and physical guys were different blokes. Okay, let's put it that way. My friends I had a lot of friends that were actually computer geeks, actually. Looking back, I had some real, very, very smart computer geek friends, which I spent a lot of time with, actually, which is interesting. Looking back, these were like really cutting edge guys. These were guys getting $175 an hour to make databases back in 1981 in high school. So, I mean, these guys were serious techie guys that I was hanging out with. Two guys, Arian and Rex. And but at the same, I liked them. I really liked the way they played Dungeons and Dragons all day. But we played volleyball, and we did my episode about when they wouldn't give me the water. It was these two guys, and in the desert. And so, let's see, back to what was I saying about? Oh yeah. So the persona. I was young, right? And my persona was a guy who surfs, and by the way, I'm a terrible surfer. I'm going to talk about that, even though I've surfed my whole life. And it's it really goes into the heart of my history of why. And I'm going to talk about that at some point. I might do that at the summit, actually. Anyway, so I had a personal persona as a motorcycle guy, as a water guy, as a beach guy, as a mountain guy, as a climber guy, as a guy who was very fluid, kind of with women. Like I liked women. They liked me, and they were always around. I was having a lot of sex. It was all when I was young. That was a normal thing for me. To blow my wad in some girl's mouth, even when I was very young, was totally normal for me. So I was like, okay, this is and that was a certain type of guy. Now, I was not a football jock kind of guy. That's the thing. I was more independent. I was like, I really was. I really am Ronin, man. Like this is my whole life. Like I've always been this way. I was never I didn't fit in with. Anyway, I had my own thing going on when it comes to adventure sports, discovery, nature, camping, snakes, whatever you call it. I had my own way. I wasn't a surfer. I wasn't I played football, but I wasn't a jock. I couldn't even. These guys were so fake to me with their fake jackets and everything, and it just made no sense. Anyway, and so I didn't have the. I thought of back then, computer guys were just completely different than me. I liked them. I respected them, but they were different than me. I was not that. So when I sat down at that internet cafe, I was like, the pull of who I was, and the fact that I had a lot of history of being bad with computers, because we had to take a computer class, a programming class, and I cheated to get through that class. Essentially, all you had to do is type up what you were supposed to print out. You were supposed to write a little basic program, and then it was supposed to print out something. And I just typed up what you were supposed to print out. And then the teacher took that final printout as you had figured it out. But actually, I just typed up what I knew I was supposed to type up. I didn't know how to write the program. And it was because I wasn't interested. I was not interested at all. I didn't consider myself that way. So when I sat at the internet, I didn't think of myself the computer looked like a very boring, very painful, a tool that I could not use and was not good at and did not understand. It had no value for me. And I looked out the window, I saw Japanese girls, I saw sun, I saw surf, I saw electronics, I saw the amazing metropolis, which was Tokyo back then, and the energy, I saw the language, I saw sex, I saw the technology, I saw everything outside the window, and I saw this depressing, miserable, sparse computer with an IBM, whatever they called it, website, whatever it was called back then. And I just thought that this has no meaning. I said to my friend Chris, I said I could just order the brochure and they'll send it in the mail. You could back then. You could order. You would basically call IBM and say, "Hey, could you send me a brochure?" And they would send you in the mail for free, whatever their latest server was or whatever AS400 they were selling back then. And they would send you these expensive glossy things in the mail, and they were quite neat. They were nice. They were it was like a book, right? And it was free. And I used to do that all the time. I was interested in technology, so I always had these things sent to me. I had piles of brochures back then. Nobody else did that. That's a funny thing. I wasn't doing it, but nobody else ordered brochures. Companies did, but not individuals. I always thought it was interesting. It was, that was the best way to learn technology back then, pre-internet. There was also magazines, but overseas you couldn't get them, so I had to do the brochure thing. And so anyway, I just looked at Chris and I said, I could order the brochure, and he looked at me, he didn't know what to say, because he wanted to explain the internet, but he couldn't verbalize, communicate what he saw to me at that moment. And I was like, I'm out of here. And he goes, well, I paid for like several hours for you. Like, you can stay, I was like, it's cool. You can use it. Don't worry about it. I got to bone some chick, right? And I left the cafe, and I basically thought the internet was total waste of time. I could not understand it. It had nothing to do with me. It was going to have no value for me. And when you talk about being wrong, it's difficult to get more wrong than that. To think the internet was meaningless is about as wrong as you can get. And for me to know that now I live off the internet. I have courses I sell, different topics under my real name. I have different branded courses I sell. And I train people, and I have consulting, and I do this all online, right? And I love it, and it's really great. It's all on the internet. And just to think, obviously I blew a huge lead I could have had. But, anyway, I figured it out in time, and I'm happy with my life. And, so it's like, don't be afraid of being an idiot, basically. The more of an idiot you are, the more likely you are, the more carbon fiber spacecraft that you make, the more likely you're going to make the next generation. So don't be afraid, guys, and admit that you're wrong. Don't be like the guys on the internet that are always right. Don't be like that. And look at the comments, okay? Look at the comments on MGTOW videos. And they're like, I don't do that. I just do this. Women are all the same. And, just tell her this, pump and dump. There's all these simple fucking things. But I'm going to tell you something. These guys' lives isn't like that. And life isn't like that. Life is complicated. Life is difficult for everybody. And the only way that you really win is by using your brain and by being wrong. It's a key step in being right. Or moving forward, or getting past things. You have to be wrong a lot. And you have to don't let that crush you. It's good to be wrong on Ronin Man. I'm going to say that right now. It's good to be wrong here. It's good to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay if I said something wrong in here. Okay? I love the spirit of helping that I see in the community that's forming around this channel is really amazing. And it's guys that are like, hey, here's my take on it. I think that the difference between someone correcting you and someone being a vicious bonehead asshole, that's different. It's the way that you get, and I don't want to underestimate this too, the way that you get to leading the field is by being wrong, but also by surrounding yourself with unique thinkers who are also wrong a lot, who can show, who can verbalize the way that they think it actually works, right? That's really what it's about. It's not about black and white. Hey, you said this, I think that. No, it's not about that final conclusion. It's about all the things that lead to it. It's the million different things. That's where the magic lies. It's in the understanding of all the different factors. Because you might be wrong about that final conclusion. But the factors, the thinking, the innovative thinking, the creative thinking, the integration of various fields of knowledge into your logic, that never is wrong. Your conclusion might be wrong, but the motor, I like to think of it as the diesel engine. I'll probably start thinking of it as the electric engine. But I like that kind of like that big fucking, just imagine like a big huge diesel motor that runs like a dam or something. It's like this huge factory, there's the old thing, It's like your brain is like that. It's like get it started, get it going, and then it starts to chug along, and then it starts to move. that chugging, that horsepower, that thinking, that creating, that the factors that you're weighing, and I think it can never be underestimated, the bringing in information from different fields. And that's what I love about Elon Musk. That's why he has a solar company and a space company and a car. These are essential in the Cybertruck. Those all come together in that truck, and that's what people don't see yet. It's a space vehicle. It's a solar vehicle. It's a innovative manufacturing vehicle. It is a leader already in so many ways. And the amazing thing is that most car company presidents are sleeping well tonight. You know why? Because all they saw was the broken window. That's all they saw. See how stupid that guy was? He's dangerous. Yeah? To me, no. I'm more scared of the perfect presentation because I know it was designed to a perfect presentation is designed to manipulate me. When you look at all of the Apple presentations, the real ones, when Steve Jobs was around, and his presentations, they often fucked up. Go back and look at them. He was pushing the boundaries with the innovation, and it was in real time. It wasn't fake. It wasn't manufactured for you. He was out there, and then he would say, "Okay, let's do this." I forgot it was the iPhone 3 or whatever, and then all of a sudden, it just like nothing worked. It's because it was real, and it was innovative, and it was new. And that started the whole smartphone revolution. But it was like that happened over and over in Apple presentations. That's what I like. That's it, man. That's it. It's that realness. It's that pushing. It's that who knows what the fuck's going to happen, right? And this is when you know you're at least looking at somebody who's trying. They're not trying to manipulate you. They're trying to build the future. And you are a lucky participant in this presentation, in this moment in time, and that's what I love. So whatever happens, the factors, the logic, this ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And the other thing about the Tesla, the Cybertruck, is really interesting. It came in $10,000 lower than what anybody thought. Now, we all know that Tesla doesn't make any profitable vehicles besides electric. So they have to make money on each car. So somehow, not only did they do all this innovation, but they have an entry-level truck that's $39,000 with Mars capacity steel, with see-through metal, with solar panels, with fucking radical look, with very innovative batteries, because he hasn't talked about the battery yet, but you're going to hear about batteries in the battery investor day coming up. That's going to be a very exciting day. I can't wait until the battery innovation day. That's going to be the day that there's going to be a special battery investor day. That will be the day when you're going to hear a lot of the stuff that's now being unsaid. This is my prediction. Again, I could be wrong. I think you're going to see how far this company is ahead in materials, in thinking, in manufacturing, in consideration of everything together to make the next thing, right? The next thing. That's fucking cool shit, man. All right, guys. I don't know if you like this innovation one, but this is what I get off on. So I thought I'd throw it out there and see if anybody's into it. So if you're still listening now, comment below. I'd love to hear what you think, any stories that you could relate to this, ideas that came up while you were listening to this. Maybe take notes as you're listening is good, like as they come up, and post them below, even if they don't seem like they're connected. I'd love to hear your unique take on what's going on. And again, I love being wrong. I love learning. It's like a sniper. I'm like a sniper. It's like I'm looking long distance and I'm pulling the trigger. And if it misses, I am perfecting my aim. I'm perfecting my aim more and more and more. And it gets closer and closer to that point. And the point is not The point is not the destination in this case. The point is the process to get to the destination. The more I can improve my process of thinking and innovating and logic and putting fields together and bringing more and more smart people, that's part of why I made this episode, is to get the innovative thinkers interested and listening and commenting and show people that you're safe to be wrong here. It's okay to be completely wrong. It's okay to make a huge story and then tomorrow for that story to be proved completely wrong. Now, I don't mean that is something, a goal. Okay, the goal of Elon Musk making the carbon fiber spacecraft was not to be wrong. The goal was to fucking push the future. And, basically, damn their torpedoes. Let's fucking do it. Let's go to Mars. Now, that iteration in the journey was not the right one, but he got it on the next one right. And that's what I want. That's what I want for myself. And I want to surround myself with guys like this. This to me is more important than feminism. It's more important than social dynamics. I think understanding the world, like I talked about in the John Muir episode, understanding the world to me is more interesting, more important than understanding humans. Although I think humans are a big part of the world, and I love humans, and they are incredibly creative, and man is the smartest result of the forces in the universe that we know of. Man is something that we don't even understand who man is. We're starting to understand who we are, what capacities we have. Man is a absolute gem in our world. And also, any life I would put in that category. So I think of the universe in two ways. There's living things which have DNA, and there's dead things. And dead things are cool too. Dead things like the laws of physics. This is really the manufacturing or the thinking process of our physical world. Imagine your thinking process is what creates your predictions, right? It's going to happen next. So this type of battery will be the next. It's all that thinking that goes in there, and that's the process of creation that you have your personal. I think that the creation of the world and of man itself is the laws of physics. So I put the laws of physics up there with the most important things for me. But the laws of physics then create all this beautiful stuff, which is us, and all the other things. And dogs, dogs are incredibly intelligent. And we don't even know what dogs know because dogs can't talk yet. I think dogs will evolve to talk within the next maybe 100,000 years. Dogs will be able to talk. Maybe less, maybe 40,000. You're already seeing dogs like understanding hundreds of words, and it's going that way. Man couldn't talk before either, right? So dogs will talk. Dogs have a very close proximity to humans. They listen to talking all day. I actually have an idea for a movie where dogs start talking that I thought of years ago. And it's actually I think it's a very good story, very innovative story. I'd like to bring it to the cinema at some point. It's a fun movie that would be good for kids too. And it takes all my ideas of evolution and understanding of the world and how dogs will start talking, how it's going to go down and how it's going to affect us. And also it's fun and like kind of Jurassic Park-ish, my idea. There's no dinosaurs in it, It's the spirit of that, the beginning of that movie especially. When they have the scientists, and that kind of stuff. So anyway, there's some thoughts. I'd love to hear your reaction to this. Yeah? So think about it. I'd love to hear your real reaction to the energy and the ideas that I have presented here. And I hope this gives you a better idea of who I am, how I think, and why I'm here, and why I'm doing this. I value smart thinkers and innovative thinkers. I want to surround myself with quality, radical, creative, accurate, ballsy, careful, intelligent creatures. And it doesn't matter to me, and I do say this, I will say this, that there are women like this. I know a lot of guys wouldn't like to hear that, but that's really true. There are women like this, and it's very important to know that. Why is it important? It's important because it's fucking true. That's it, period. I'm not saying there are as many, but I mean there are, and it's important to know that. Don't black and white thinking is not helping you. It doesn't. It's improve the process of thinking. Improve your process of thinking, and you will have a better life. Right? That's how I created all my ideas in a black mailable, is by improving and improving, and then innovating and thinking, how can I live a life where I can see where society is, and I want to be able to zip in and out of society like a coyote that comes into. I'm more like a coyote in the wilderness who comes in to like get some garbage out of the garbage can. Who I've got my world outside, but I can live in the matrix. I can snake around, take advantage of things, grab a cat here and there, and I can eat. I can live in my own innovative ecosystem and world where I'm zipping in and out of other people's worlds, but I've got my own way of living that it's hiding in plain sight is the best way to put it. My way of living is hiding in plain sight. People look at me, they think they know what I'm doing, but they actually don't know at all. And I don't mean that I'm doing it on purpose to be stealthy, but my thinking is so innovative that people don't, or my way of looking at living is so different that people just don't get it when they first. It takes people, I know this because of my friends, it takes years until they finally say, they like look at me, they're like, fuck. That's so weird. Like they're like, wow, and I'm like, wow, like what was the reaction? Like, how couldn't you couldn't see? And they're like, well, and then I'm like, oh, okay, and I love, use the world. I live in a big city, I don't go live in a trailer, right? I'm that coyote living in the matrix, while completely in my own world and thinking of cool things. I think I'm going to end this on this. I want this group of guys, you listening, to end up being the most powerful men on earth, the smartest, the richest, the ones who really control industry. That would be a beautiful thing, is that by shedding useless things, by not living in a dream, piece by piece, dealing with your emotional issues, childhood issues, taking away things that are zapping your energy in a very, very, using that field that was innovated by psychologists, by psychoanalytics, by various very smart thinkers. You use that and you delete a lot of the things where you're losing energy, right? Where it's like there's a hole in the bottom of your bucket, most people's buckets. You've now plugged that hole, and you know where you plugged it, and you know why you plugged it. And now you're working on getting rid of the fog in your brain. You're clearing out that fog. And then you're starting to see the fog in the world, and all the people doing all these things. They're just following each other and doing this. One car company makes the next car, it's the same as the last car. Everybody's manufacturing is the same. Everything's the same. Everybody just kind of, and you're like, well, okay, I see that now. I see that. And then you're like, well, what do I want to do? And then guys with the balls to have the balls to try these new things. And this, if you want to make money, I am giving you the roadmap, because the innovation is good, is the future. The following was the past. So in the past, I guess I'll end on this. Like the Japanese would copy American manufacturing. And then they would just whoosh, they'd do it on a bigger scale. They would basically copy. That way of making money is done. Today, every website, every entrepreneur, every technology is being reinvented, and the old ways are falling by the wayside one after the other. And it's the innovative thinkers that have the balls. And also, it's not just innovative. You have to be, to truly be innovative, you have to be educated. You have to understand all the different physics of things, the manufacturing, people, the politics, the way that people work. You have to understand everything from materials to people to physics to logistics to energy to transportation to the human mind and what the human mind buys, what the human mind, emotional needs that create sales, essentially, right? So if you understand all that together, you can put that together. And I think you could only do that if you have a clean, clear mind. And that's why it's so important to see women, to see marriage, and to see this type of stuff clearly and have it totally managed and under control, where you're not reactive. You're not like still angry. You're over red pill, right? You're over way past that. And now you're into a totally different mindset. It's like catch me if you can, man. Catch me if you can. That's what I want for you. Catch me if you fucking can. Hiding in plain sight. Just leapfrogging these people who are they're swimming with like 400 fucking bowling balls on their legs, You've cut them off. And you've reached, I don't know, the metaphor ends there for that. And I'm getting tired. So anyway, thanks guys. I'm up to do some yoga. And anyway, I hope you guys have a good day. And I hope this has been a little bit of brain food. All right. Thanks. Take it easy.